Perfect. All good. So thanks for being here. It's a real pleasure to be able to make this session. As you know, we have some of you know we have been launching Riverse in 2021, and this recent months has been very active on our side, and we made some very good progress on our end. Today, the goal is we have made, so obviously we have our main standard rules, and we have been improving them a lot during the last few weeks and months specifically. And so we have been launching a public consultation so that everyone from the ecosystem can understand a bit more how Riverse standard rules are working. And so you can also ask your question and add feedbacks and comments to ensure we are fitting the need of the ecosystem. We have 45 minutes.
Je veux bien voir les photos les plus récentes parce que.
Yes, can you please cut your I will deactivate the sound of newcomers. So we have 45 minutes. It will be mostly Clément that will present the standards. Obviously, the aim is to make it as interactive as possible. So we have Erika who will moderate the question as well. So do not hesitate to put your question in the chat whenever you want, and we will answer them regularly. We have 45 minutes, and we will try to keep this timing with us. At least 10 minutes at the end for more questions. Let's start. Yes. So just for you to know, your audience today is three persons. Clément, who has been in charge, is still in charge of all the product and industry topics at Riverse. Erika, who joined us like a few months ago, and with our climate solution and LCA expert, and myself, Grégoire, on the partnership topics regarding carbon credit project and carbon credit reseller. The presentation is split in three parts. The first one is more to give you a quick presentation of Riverse, but will be very quick, honestly. The biggest part will be about presenting the new standard rules, and last but not least, a few information about the public consultation. How does it work? What's the purpose? How does it work? And what are the resources that you can use to participate to this public consultation? First of all, even if I guess some of you know this already, but we have been creating Riverse. It's a carbon credit standard, and we are solely focused on European green techs. What does that mean? What does that mean? It provides. Sorry, I'm deactivated the sound of newcomers. We provide both stuff. In fact, we provide a MRV platform, measure, report, and verify, and a carbon credit registry. And all our methodology and our approach is dedicated for industrial decarbonization solution. Obviously, the aim of this new standard is to accelerate the deployment of the innovative green techs so that we reach our net zero engagement and Paris Agreement target as soon as possible. Globally, I will start only with the governance stuff, and I will let Clément continue with all the other aspects of the standard rules. Two things that we have to keep in mind in our independence: we are not project developers, we are not carbon credit resellers. Our goal is solely to create a carbon credit standard and registry for industrial green techs. So just for you to know, all the staff, the advisory board, technical committee are signing conflict of interest. We have our own code of conduct, and the compliance and grievance mechanism are already implemented. In terms of governance, this is very classic in the carbon credit standard rules, but there is three teams. There is a staff team, which will check and oversee the day-to-day decision. We built an advisory board that ensures that Riverse main mission will continue over time, and the advisory board is also in charge to improve the standard over time. And last but not least, the technical committee, one of the most important parts of Riverse. It's a panel of experts for each of the decarbonization solutions that contribute to the methodology and contribute to the project assessment when necessary. Quick view on the staff, the advisory board, and the technical committee. Today, the staff is composed of 11 people. We are split in 3 teams. A climate team, notably with Clément and Erika, who are in charge to develop the methodology and the MRV process. A product team that is in charge of developing the tech platform, and a partnership team with notably myself and Ludovic Chateau, our CEO, who is in charge to gather all the right people to make these standards as efficient as possible. Regarding the advisory board, we gather 5 people with very different expertise. The goal of the advisory board is to validate all the standard evolution and to suggest new improvement to the standard. The goal was to gather people with an expertise on the VCM market, like notably Renaud Bétain, on the carbon finance, like Laura Bollier, who is the CEO of the Climate Dividend, and also more specific expertise on the regulation side with Fanny Florio, on the green text aspect with Raphaël Mavigné, the co-founder of Circulaire, and last but not least, we have a big focus with life cycle assessment, and so Jean-Baptiste Pouillou, the founder of EVA, is notably helping us and giving us good advice on this part. Third entity, the technical committee. It's a group of 7 people with the different kind of solutions that we will address, notably Corinne Arpin on the low carbon and bio-based construction materials, Dr. Ahmad Zakria on the biochar and bioenergy, but also Gilles Bourguigna regarding bioenergy and waste management. I will not make the whole list, but obviously we have more solution experts, Jean-François Robert also on the recycling part, and more people who will help us on the regulation side, like Guillaume Pouillevet. 2 roles for the technical committee. First, it's to help and support on the methodology deployments, both on the eligibility criteria and LCA aspect, and that also for some project application analysis, we can ask for ad hoc technical report when necessary. Before we move forward to the concrete standard, the rest of the standard rules, are there any questions? Okay, then Clément, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Edouard. Hello, everyone. So I'm in charge of the climate team and the product team at Riverse, and I will go through what are the big changes in the standards rules in this 5th version of the standards rule and how we ensure robustness of the standard. So first of all, what you will find, it's a huge document. It's 50 pages, so I guess all of you won't have the time to read it. But what you can actually find in this document, first, the independence and governance, how it works, and basically what Grégoire already presented with the advisory board and technical committee. You find the definition of the different types of credits and mechanism we cover, the overall process. I will go through this in detail today. Certification list of criteria. I won't have the time to go through the all 14 criteria today, so you will find them in detailed description in the standard rules, how the registry and carbon credits are followed within the life cycle of the carbon credits is defined in the standard rules as well, and the life cycle methodology. So today I will just pick some points from this list, not address everything, but address them. I'd say the most important part of it. First of all, one important thing is to understand that our standard, Riverse standards, address 2 types of mechanisms, both avoidance and removals. And therefore, we have 2 types of different credits. The first one being carbon avoidance credits that applies for projects for which more GHG emissions would have been emitted without the project realization. They are assessed against a baseline scenario that would have occurred without the project. And for this specific project, what we ensure is that the robustness of the baseline, the additionality and the substitutions we ensure that these criteria are really well defined and they are really screened criteria that we go through before going even though the pre-certification phase, because they are key for this type of credits. Secondly, we address also removals with carbon removal credits. This applies to projects that physically remove carbon from the atmosphere. They convert it into long-term chemical, biological stable compound, and they need to ensure the stability of the sequestration for a minimum of 100 years through specific documentation. So these are the two mechanisms that we can find at the project level, but also at the credit level. The overall process is defined in the document. Brief overview. The phase for the project is eligibility, pre-certification, then there is a third-party validation. Then we enter monitoring phase that enables us to issue the credits and verify the credits over time. So the first step of this process is the eligibility. All the project can go through the project application form that is available on the website, where basically the project needs to self-evaluate, and then the Riverse team evaluate the additionality, the co-benefits, and the measurability of the project. Then we, when the team decide whether this is eligible and these answers are eligible, the project goes through the pre-certification phase. And if it is refused, then we usually send a refusal report explaining why this project is not eligible. Then we enter the second phase, the pre-certification, when we enter both life cycle assessment details and project detail description. This is submitted through the platform. The project is given access to the platform where they fulfill all the 14 criteria. They fulfill also the information needed to run the life cycle assessment of the project and the baseline scenario. And together with the team and the project, we plan a monitoring plan with specific verification KPIs that I would mention just afterwards. Once these 14 criteria and the life cycle assessment of the project and the baseline scenario are fulfilled, the project detail description is set as finalized, and it is sent to a third-party validator. This third-party validator, who are they? They are independent auditor that comes in, register on the platform, audit all information that are used for this methodological framework, and also the answers for the certification criteria. They ensure the robustness of the information that have been provided by the project, and then they ensure also the impartiality of the information, and that the process has been followed correctly. We have specific accreditation criteria for this BVB. They need to have they need to be accredited 14065 or something or an equivalent. They need to have at least 5 years experience in auditing this type of projects. Once the project is pre-certified, then validated, the project is then certified, and we can start the issuance of the credits. We entered then this phase of monitoring and verification through the key impact indicators. These key impact indicators, they are defined in the monitoring plan of every project. They are documented. These are parameters that are chosen because they can evolve within the life cycle within the life of the project. They are also measurable on site, and the project have the ability to prove these indicators and to upload information. So they must be auditable and documented, and in the end, they should be digitized so they can be associated with the credits themselves. They are usually linked to the energy, the quantity, or transportation, and they ensure that the life cycle assessment is follow and is still relevant. So a project is certified, is done by the validator, then is monitored through the platform. This helps us, and this enables the verification and the issuance of the credits on the registry, and the credits are made available for sale. Within the whole process, we have different safeguards that help us, or that safeguards against failing the different criteria, and of course against reality of the credits. So we take buffers. Buffers are integrated into the life cycle assessment to avoid overcrediting. They are between 0 to 10%, and they are depending on the uncertainty of some of the life cycle, some of the items within the life cycle inventory. Then for each pool of credit that is issued as verified on the registry, that we have a provision pool of 10% of these verified credits that is put aside on this provision pool in order to cover non-deliveries from other projects. So this is another safeguard. There's two different mechanisms, one to avoid overcrediting and one to avoid non-deliveries. So this is the overall process that enables to issue credits. These credits, they are uniquely identified on the registry. And actually we also, so on the registry, you will find a detailed description of the project, the ID, the name, the project developer information of the project developer, also the crediting period. Each credit is also uniquely identified and with a link to a vintage year and a mechanism, whether removal or avoidance, in order to come back to these different two types of credits. The registry will be openly accessible through a specific platform and enables both the project developer to manage the credits that have been generated through the process and to overview the sale of the credits. Yep, maybe I can pause there.
Yeah, thanks. Just maybe before moving on to the next general section regarding the criteria, we have a question from Maria about what is our positioning about nature-based projects versus technology-based projects, and any recommendations regarding those two.
Yeah, so basically we are really focused on technology-based projects. All of the projects that we are certified, I will go through a little bit afterwards within the specific 14 criteria that I've mentioned, but our standards really focus on technology-based projects. And this is why we use lifecycle assessment certification methodology, because it's easily applied to product production, for instance, or other type of industrial process. Other questions?
I think we're good to move on to criteria.
Yeah, so I won't go through the whole 14 criteria. This is an overview, but maybe just to come back on the last point about technology-based project, I can emphasize that we targeted really technology-based project, and this is why we have a specific criteria on technology readiness level, where we ensure that the project is not anymore in R&D and it is in the space of industrialization. So they must justify a TRL higher than 6. And otherwise, we have like we cover all the needs of the market in terms of core carbon principles with measurability, reality, additionality, permanence, unicity, and co-benefits. These are the 6 main criteria of the methodology, and the rest of the criteria are here to ensure either rebound effect, leakage, and they're really specific to our kind of industries. Maybe to come back on the additionality first, what is additionality and how is it demonstrated with for the project? First, every project needs to demonstrate regulatory additionality. This means that the project must demonstrate that there is no existing law or expected law in the years to come that makes the project actually compulsory. And so every project needs to justify this point. Then the project must at least validate one of the following additionality mechanism. The first one being financial additionality. So it means that the project must demonstrate that it is not sufficiently profitable to develop their technology, or that financial support could enable them to have an expansion in the short term. Then another additionality type is the prevalence. It means that the project must demonstrate that the barrier of the common practice can be overcome with financing. It means that if the project develops a specific kind of answers to a demand on the market, and it's really small. It's really small on the market, but it can grow. Then it would be able to validate this one. And the last additionality is technological barriers. It means that it must demonstrate that there is still technological barriers to expand this type of mitigation activities, and it can be overcome with additional financing. Then another big criteria that I want to go through is measurability. So all approach is based on comparative lifecycle assessments. So how does it work? First, for the project, we define a functional unit that is a reference value for all the product that is delivered by the project, and that can be normalized in order to be compared with the baseline. We have a 3% cutoff that is used to determine the system boundaries. We use most recent data, and it should be data that are at least 1 or 2 years from they're not outdated, and that are linked to the geography also of the project. And we can rely on other type of lifecycle assessment standards, and the list is below, but usually the main one, lifecycle assessment cradle to grave, GHG protocol, product lifecycle accounting. So this kind of standard that already exists on the market, we are compatible and we can reuse this kind of data. For the baseline usually represents the status quo on the market. It's a market average that would have occurred without the project activity itself. It is selected using the specific technology or technologies that the project activity substitute. So this is where the functional unit is really important to be defined well and to be well defined. When it is impossible to subdivide and select a single technology, we can use market average to better adapt and represent the real market situation. And if in this case, when we have an adapted market average, it should at least cover 75% of the markets. So basically, I will go really quick on these 2 slides because I don't want to be too technical, but what we do for each project, we have a project model where we have raw materials, energies, then also output in terms of removed carbon or products. And this is where we identify these key variables that I've mentioned earlier in the monitoring plan. And then we have the baseline scenario, the same thing. It is cradle to grave lifecycle assessment. And these 2 combined enables us to have a certified data model for each project, where we have this key indicators that we will be able to verify over time, and that will enable us to issue the credits with this data model on either avoided emissions or removed emissions. And lastly, what we do at Riverse is that we want to accelerate the financing of this type of project. So we facilitate for some sector, we have some sector-specific frameworks that facilitate this lifecycle assessment for projects within specific sectors, such as recycling materials, reconditioning of products, and bioenergies. For instance, these are the 3 verticals where we really focus and where we provide to the project lifecycle assessment models in order to get this certification done more quickly and easily. I will stop here maybe to come to answer some questions that could remain on the overall criteria.
Yeah, perfect timing, Clément, because we just got a really interesting question from Jean-Francois regarding our permanence criteria. Our permanence criteria, as was written, it requires carbon to be removed or avoided for 100 years. That's our timeline. And Jean-Francois said that this criteria will disqualify all of our recycling projects that integrate recycled materials into consumer goods and products other than construction materials, because those obviously have a longer life. So could you confirm it? Do you have any comments on this?
No, actually, so the way it works is that, and the approach is that an avoided emission, once it's verified, then it cannot be emitted anymore. I mean, usually what in these frameworks for recycling and reconditioning, for example, what is taken into account is that the avoided emissions comes from the materials that have been recovered, meaning that we have less raw materials that have been extracted from the earth, or in the case of reconditioning products, we have less product that have been produced to answer the same need, which is I need a computer, for instance. So it means that once it's been avoided and once the computer has been solved, then it's actually already avoided, and it's so the project is eligible, not only in construction sites.
Yeah, thanks. And if I could just add something there, I would say that our permanence criteria is really relevant for carbon removal projects. And as Kamal said, our recycling projects are most of the time, the type of credits fall under avoidance credits. Just this example of construction products using recycled materials, there we can have avoidance credits and removal credits if the construction products are bio-based and are removing carbon from the atmosphere. So as Jean-Francois pointed out, that's kind of a specific example, construction projects that would have both avoidance and removal credits.
Is there any other question?
No, I think we're good to move on.
Okay, great. Your turn.
Yes, I guess there was one question from Nicolas from Additionality, but I guess I hope Clément covered it during the presentation. Otherwise, Nicolas does not hesitate to precise if the answer was not good enough. Last but not least, few elements about the public consultation, about what's the purpose of this public consultation and how it works, basically. The purpose of the public consultation is to ensure what we have been building on our side from several months is useful for the ecosystem. So basically, we are opening a new horizon for the carbon credits markets, making this market more accessible for European green techs, but we want to ensure we take into account the point of view of every counterpart of the carbon credit markets. First of all, many different kind of stakeholders are consulted during this public consultation. So the aim of the public consultation is that either you're a project developer, a corporate buyer, or a green tech expert, you can give us your point of view on the document we are producing. It can be on the whole document or only a small part that you are specifically interested in. Globally, there will be like voluntary carbon market experts, project developer, carbon credit resellers, final buyers, and also sustainability and green tech experts and consultants. That's the scope of people we have been addressing. What is the goal, basically, of this public consultation? It's to improve the existing methodology. Basically, we want to ensure that our standard routes are in line with the best-in-class voluntary carbon market guidelines. Why this? It's to ensure that when we issue carbon credits, they can be compatible with any kind of net zero framework. Secondly, it's to improve our MRV process. I guess our goal is to be as rigorous but also as efficient as possible to assess project, so there is less friction as possible so that like project developer and also corporate can concentrate on their decarbonization activity. And also the last but not least, it's also to give visibility to the green tech ecosystem. So there's a lot of projects we address that couldn't access before the voluntary carbon market. And so it's a real chance, I guess, for a lot of green techs to accelerate their deployment thanks to this new new monetization framework. And so that's why we want also to take this time to let that there is this new possibility to the green techs that are finally the most concerned by our framework. How does it work? Globally, the public consultation is open for 2 weeks until March 22nd. You have 3 main resources. First of all, obviously, the standard rules. I will share with all of you the link of the standard rules, but it's printed on our website. As Clement said, it's kind of a long document, but it's very like split in different parts. So if you are only interested in one small aspect, do not hesitate to have a look and to give your comments and feedbacks. There is a page on the website as well that explains everything and gives all the links, and we will put this webinar also accessible through this page. And last but not least, there is a feedback form so that you can give us all your comments. We provide two feedback forms, one type form for the one who loves this framework. Otherwise, there is also like a classic spreadsheet, Excel sheet that we can provide if it's more simpler for you to provide your comments and feedback on this aspect. We accept all kind of commentaries. Maybe it's need for clarification. It's a thing that could be improved. Do not hesitate regarding any level of maturity on the voluntary carbon markets. All commentary will be really accepted, and we'll take them all into account. The goal is to gather all your feedbacks, then to make a summary of all your feedback by end of the month, and then we will discuss with the advisory board what kind of improvement we can include in this standard rules. This is it from our side. We try to keep 10 minutes for questions, even if some of them has been asked during and answered during the presentation. But yes, the floor is yours. Do not hesitate if you have any comments or need any clarification.
Thanks. We have another question from Nicolas. Thank you. He says, have you considered having the reverse standard approved by Greenhouse Gas Protocol or other similar certification?
Craig, do you want to address this one?
So, yes, maybe two. Yes. No, sorry. I'm hearing myself. No, maybe bad. So many good question on this. First of all, we have been following all the recommendations of the ICVCM, Integrity Council for the Voluntary Carbon Market, which is an organization that defines the guidelines for qualitative carbon credit criteria. And this organization has been pushed notably by Antonio Gutierrez from the UN General Secretary. So that's the main guidelines to produce high quality carbon credits. On the other hand, for buyers, it's more the VCMI guidelines that should be taken into account. Basically, as we have been following all these criteria, it means that when a project issue reverse certified carbon credits, they are compatible with all the most important criteria of the voluntary carbon market. And last but more important, it will be useful for, you can use reverse certified carbon credit as a company in your SBTi report, for instance. It's also compatible with the French law, with Carbon Trust in the UK. And we are also following very closely the new ISO normalization 14068 regarding carbon neutrality to ensure the carbon credit we issue are compatible with all these elements. Any other questions?
We have another question from Corinne. Is the consultation open, or does it concern just the contacts that you have already gathered? Is it open to the general public?
No, it's open to all the ecosystem. So we have been contacting proactively some of the people of the ecosystem that we know for a long time. But no, the public consultation is open on site, and all the information anyone can contribute.
All right, Jean-Francois is asking, have you already evaluated the average cost for a project developer to have access to the carbon credit certification platform, including the LCA cost, expert analysis, and external review?
Gilles Bouquina, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Just a question I'd like to understand. I would like to understand how you plan to explain what would be the feedback for regarding the public consultation, and what type of decision or kind of decision you would undertake following some comments of this public consultation.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe Grégoire, you can take the first question that we had on costs, and I would take the second one.
Yes, I will take the. Yes, Gilles, there was a previous question, but we will answer both. So first question of Jean-François regarding the cost for a project. Basically, there is the business model is so the cost, there is a cost from the LCA initially. That's why we are developing currently LCA framework for several technologies, so that we have already all the LCA framework, and it will lower the timing and the cost. And then you have the third-party audit. So the cost for a project upfront is generally around 10,000 euros. 5,000 euros if they already have an LCA, 10,000 if they don't have the LCA. And then after the business model of Riverse, it's a commission on the sale of carbon credits. So 5 to 10% of the sale of the carbon credits. I think what's the big difference, there is no cost to just make a project application, no cost for the reporting, no cost to develop a specific methodology. The business model is really like LCA if the project developer don't have the LCA to provide, third-party audit, and then a commission.
Okay, answer the questions. And on the second questions from Gilles on how the process goes for the public consultation. So at the end of the public consultation, we will gather all the comments that we had, and we will answer all the different comments, whether it will be implemented or right now, or maybe implemented afterwards. But there will be a specific answers to all the comments that will have been put on the public consultation, and this list of comments will be validated with the advisory board at the end of the month.
Thank you indeed.
Four more minutes. Let's make some room for one or two questions if necessary. Sounds good. Thanks everyone for attending, and thanks for your question. We will follow up with sending the recording of this webinar if you want to share it with people who couldn't attend, and we'll share again the standard rules link and the feedback form so that you can contribute. And once again, your contribution will be more than appreciated. Thanks everyone. Have a lovely end of week, and let's keep in touch in the following days regarding the public consultation.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.